Hey guitar friends, Bob Strom here with All About Guitar Academy. Today we're going to be looking at 5 guitar secrets for rock guitar for beginners. So if you're a beginner guitarist and you want to rock, these secrets should help you. And if you stick around to the very end, I'm going to give you some bonus secrets too. So that's coming right up. Hey guitar friends, welcome back. Like I said, we're going to look at 5 secrets for rock guitar. And if you're a brand new beginner at guitar or you just started playing recently, make sure you go to my website, bobstrom.com, book a call with me, and let's find out how we can help you with your guitar goals. Are you trying to learn how to play bar chords and it's just killing your fingers? Well, hey, I've got good news for you. Here's a secret. There is power in power chords. So in other words, what you heard me just playing, those were bar chords where I'm having to bar the entire fret and put my fingers down like this on the fretboard. And that can be really tough for beginner guitarists playing rock and roll. So a power chord is a simplified version of a bar chord. It's neither a major nor a minor chord. It's actually the root note and the 5th note of the chord. So it's a dyad. It's what we call a dyad. It's 2 notes. So a power chord looks like this. This would be an F5 power chord instead of playing a bar chord. Now, the power chord's not going to be as full and pretty, but you know, when we're playing rock guitar, we're not always trying to make it sound pretty, right? So power chords are the way to go. And I'm going to show you some really easy ones. Okay, E5 is a really easy power chord, and it's used in a lot of rock songs. It sounds like this. And all we're doing here is we're taking finger number 1 and putting it on fret number 2 of string number 5, our A string, then hitting the low E and the A string. So see, I'm just pressing down on one string. That would be an E5, and then I just showed you an F5. To go to F5, we're going to hit our F note here on fret number 1 of our 6th string, our low E. Then we're going to put finger number 3 down here, a whole step down on the A string. So this is a C note here, and we're going to play that F and that C together. That would be an F5. If we want to do a G5, we're just going to slide up a whole step. That's a G5. All right, and then other ways to play some of these chords. If we want to do a higher pitched G5, we can take our 3rd finger, cover up strings 1 and 2, and we're just going to play strings 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is a simplified G5. It sounds really good. Used in a ton of rock songs. So that'd be a G5. A D5, we just come over here with finger 1 and finger 3 like this. We're playing 3 strings there, 2, 3, and 4. That would be a D5. A5 would look like this. If you've played A major, this is an A5. All I'm playing here is strings 3, 4, and 5, and I'm covering up fret number 2, strings 3 and 4. A5, and then we're back to E5. So if we're going to put all those together, it would sound like this. All right, lots of power in those easy chords. And then remember, you can always make power chords up and down the fretboard by finding the root note. So if we're going to do a G5, we find our G root note, and then we put our 3rd finger down here a whole step down on the next string over towards the floor. So that's F, that's G, that's A flat, F sharp. We can do that all up and down the fretboard. Power chords are really cool to know how to do for rock and roll. Let's look at the next secret. Okay, what we're doing right there is we're doing a couple different guitar secrets, but I'm going to share the first one with you. The first one is palm muting. Palm muting is so effective for playing heavy, chunky riffs on guitar, for rock guitar. And basically what the difference between palm muting and not palm muting sounds like this. This is not palm muting. All right, and that's an E5 power chord, by the way. Palm muting would sound like this. So let's take a closer look at exactly what's happening down here. I've got my palm, this part of my hand right here, I'm resting it very lightly down here by the bridge of my guitar, right below that pickup there, if you can see that. And I'm just barely resting it on the strings very comfortably. I'm playing an E5 power chord, and it looks like this. All right, and there's an art to that. It does take some practice, especially if you're a beginner. Be patient with yourself. And a good way to start with this secret skill is start one string at a time. So take your low E string and then try to palm mute it so you can still hear the note, but it sounds muffled. See that? All right, so that's palm muting. And you can do that on every string. So you could do a D5 power chord, A5, E5. All right, palm muting is a really cool secret and a good skill to learn. Let's look at the next one. All right, what I'm doing there, I'm doing downstroke. So in other words, I'm picking down. I'm not alternate picking up, down, or down, up. Nothing wrong with that, but on a lot of heavy rock songs, we're doing lots of down picking. And I'm also palm muting right there. See how that works? So let's take a closer look at what's happening down here. I'm using my palm muting skills, but I'm also down picking. And for example, on this AC/DC song, it would sound and look like this. So rock rhythm guitar sounds really good when you're just down picking. James Hetfield of Metallica, great example of that. He's probably one of the fastest down picking people I've ever seen. But a lot of rock songs use that technique. So right there, I'm down picking and I'm palm muting, using both of those skills. But down picking is a very, very common way to make your riffs sound heavier, chunkier, and it's also really good practice. Get your strumming hand really good condition. So if you're a beginner at guitar, this skill takes a while to learn, so be patient with it. But a little bit of practice every single day will make progress. Let's look at the next secret. Okay, the magic of open string riffing with hammer-ons and pull-offs. That's another really good rock guitar secret, and it takes a lot of practice to master this skill, but you can start doing it as a beginner. So many rock songs out there using open strings and hammer-ons and pull-offs, like this one. Here's another one, Van Halen. Hear that part? There's so many rock songs out there that use the open strings and hammer-ons and pull-offs, like this one. Or this one. All right, but I'm a beginner guitar player. How in the world do I start doing things like that? Well, I'm going to show you. Here's a good place to start. Start here on your F sharp note on the low E string. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull off. See? All I'm doing here is I'm taking my index finger and I'm pulling off of that note to the open E. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on the G sharp note here. So if I did them both together. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on the next string down, our A string. Now let's go down to our D string and do the same thing. And you notice I'm palm muting. I'm using a lot of these skills at the same time. Palm muting down here to stop the note from ringing out. So on the D string, now we're going to go to our G string. And let's skip down a half step for our B string and go to fret number 3 and fret number 5 and do it there. So it goes like this. And the same thing on string number 1, our high E string. So it sounds like this if I put it all together. Again. All right, and if I speed that up, I practice this every day and I get faster and faster, it starts to sound like this. All right, I'm also using some palm muting there too, in case you caught that. But just start out with a very slow exercise until you start conditioning your fingers to do what you want them to do with these hammer-ons and pull-offs. So this is a hammer-on, pull-off there. Again, hammer-on, pull-off. Hammer-on, pull-off. And you can do this exercise backwards too. Let's look at the next one. All right, let's look at another guitar secret, vibrato and bending strings. Those are two different things, my friend, but we're going to look at both of them in this final guitar secret. Stick around till the end because I got a couple more for you. On this one's a little bit tougher, I would say, for brand new beginner guitarists. You want to be careful with this because you don't want to pop your strings, or hurt yourself or anything. So just a disclaimer there, this takes some practice. But what I'm doing, let's take a close look at what's going on here. All right, for this secret, it's known as string bending. So again, be very careful with this. But I'm also utilizing the open strings. This is an open string riff because I'm on my B string. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hammer on and pull off. But I'm hitting string 1 and 2 at the same time. And I'm only playing this D note here on the B string. But for the bend, what I'm going to do is bend this D note up a whole step, up to here. So I want it to go. All right, so again. And that's quite a bend there, so you want to be careful with this one. But what's helping me to do that is I'm using my thumb here for leverage. All right, it makes it easier to bend up. And I'm also using my other fingers here that I'm not using. I'm using them for anchorage. They're not playing any notes. Just the middle finger is playing the note. But the other fingers can help to anchor myself a little bit, if that makes sense. So let's do the riff again. All right, see, I've got my thumb, my index finger there were helping me out. And I'm bending that note up to here. So, all right, that's quite a bend. Let's look at the other bend. So right here, what I'm doing on this A note here of the G string, I'm bending it up, and then I'm pulling off. Then I'm hitting that E5 chord. So as a beginner, what I would work on if it was me doing these bends for the first time, come up here higher on the fretboard, maybe up here about fret number 10 on your B string. And what we want to do is try to bend that string up to the next note. So see, we're right here. Do it again. See how those match? Or you can bend down like this. Whatever feels easiest for you. Just want to be careful you don't bend the string too much or you'll break the string. All right, let's look at the other part of this secret, which is vibrato. What vibrato is we are bending a string, but we're not bending it significantly. We're just bending it enough to where the note sounds like it's moving. And if you'll notice, my hand is not moving much at all. It's mostly in the finger here. And I'm going back and forth, like up and down, like this. But I'm not going all the way up to the next note. I'm just kind of hovering around on that note. So that's what we call vibrato. And you can do it really fast, or you can do it really slow. But it's used in songs like this one. I don't have my wah-wah pedal hooked up, but it's Jimi Hendrix. You hear that note there? So that just adds a lot of emotion to the note. And when you start playing lead guitar, you'll be doing this a lot. So we've got string bending, and we've got vibrato. All right, it takes some practice. All right, I've got 2 more bonus secrets for you since you've come this far in the video. And before we do that, just a reminder, you can find me at bobstrom.com. Book your free discovery call if you're serious about taking your skills to the next level. So here's a couple of secrets that you might not know about. All right, what we're doing there is what we call harmonics. Okay, those are harmonics, and where we find those the easiest on the guitar, and you can start practicing this as a beginner, believe it or not, but up here on fret number 5, we've got this fret right here, and what you can do is just put your finger very lightly, you might try your middle finger first, very lightly over that fret, the actual metal part of the fret, and then hit that E note, that low E string. See what it does? And it'll carry for quite a while, depending on how much gain you have or distortion you have on your guitar. We can do the same thing on that A note of fret number 5. D note, the G note, the B string, and the E string. So you've got all of those strings right there on the 5th fret. And it just takes some practice. You want to very lightly put your finger over that fret. Okay, you can also do the same thing on fret number 7 with those same strings. Okay, and then the magic also happens up here on fret number 12. All right, a lot of fun and a lot of cool things you can do with that. Okay, what about this? That is what we call dive bombing. You've got to have a whammy bar to do that. Okay, fortunately on this beautiful Alex Lifeson Epiphone Les Paul, if you want to get one of these, check the description. One of my favorite guitars, I've got a Floyd Rose whammy bar here, so I can do dive bombs, dive attacks, whatever you want to call them, and I can combine that with harmonics. lot of fun. You hear that in a lot of Van Halen songs. There's really an art to using the whammy bar, but they're lots of fun. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson today, and if you want more stuff like this, make sure you check out this video here or this playlist right down here, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned for more.